This year's Enduro World Series was one of the most exciting, with seasoned pros, underdogs and hometown heroes all battling it out at each round for a spot on the coveted EWS podium. We saw injuries and comebacks, and for many, getting on the box was a journey. So here are some of our favourite podiums of 2022.
Fox was developing this new rear shock, and pretty much the day that I got home, I had a testing session with them. I've been on a coil shock previously, doing well for years, and this is an air shock, and I was pretty worried, but with their help, we put a lot of work in, and it was in the back of my head the entire month leading up to Whistler. Like, I did so much testing, like timing, trying to make sure that I was like, okay, like I'm pretty sure this is better, but I don't want to be sucked into like, oh, newer and cooler is better. So I was trying to do a bunch of testing with that, and that I think played a pretty big role. Like it's a really good shock as it is, and there's a lot of parts in Whistler with climbs or flat sections, and this shock definitely, I think, aided me in those sections. I put pressure on myself because I feel like I don't live there anymore. It's been 4 years, but I still know I just know the way those trails work, and so I should do well there. But I feel like just racing there is already such a win. It's just so fun. I get all my friends and family are there. They're all like positioned out on the course, and you can really just hear the difference in the way that they yell your name. Really, I just wanted to have fun. Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. I guess I'm really pushing myself at that race just because I want to make sure that I can do it. There's parts on the trails where I know I should slow down, but I can't because they're all there. So that's when it gets a bit sketchy. I like the valley trails so much more that I just ride those, and I don't ride bike park as much. It doesn't really suit me as much as other people do, especially if you're talking about Richie. So that one was like always my biggest worry. All you can do is ride it as best you could, and I knew there was a lot of other stages that suited me, and so that one was like just getting through it. And actually, like winning that, I was super surprised to win that for the pro stage. But I was really stoked because knowing that you're not going to do that great on that stage, or thinking that, I almost use that as fuel to be like, no, I'm going to try even harder. And I just really attacked that stage, and I played it pretty well strategically, I think, and yeah, ended up working out. I had been riding, so stage 3, I think it was a really long one through Garbo all the way kind of into Creekside. That was the other one I'm worried about because it was so long. I've struggled with arm pump in the past, and it's like Whistler, it's so full on that you're grabbing your bars so much and it's so technical. So I was riding that one really like mellow up top as much as I could, conserving energy, and then randomly before like the last section of trail, I just got it flat, and I've had it happen in Whistler so many times, and I hate it. Flat tires are just like the worst feeling in a race. Anyways, I rode that out. I had Cush core, thankfully, so I was able to ride that out. And I just like, the thing was I knew the next trail pretty well, and I wasn't trying to conserve my rim at all. I was like, look, if I'm going to make this race anything, I need to just not lose so much time. So I kind of rode it pretty hard, had to pedal super hard because it's just, you don't roll as fast. I wasn't out, like I wasn't gonna give up. Like I just always, whenever that happens, no matter how shitty it is, I just want to finish the day because I hate the feeling of like, yeah, just not finishing a day. I had like this huge puncture in the top and a puncture in the side, and I think I put about 8 tire plugs in there. Just immensely relieved. It's just such a weight off, and I find these races, they're physical, but they're just mentally so draining, and especially that one. Like I wish I could go into like some black like recovery room where I can just like decompress, because I just feel like I'm so dead after those races when I cross the line, and that one for sure. But I had my family there, and it's just such the biggest sigh of relief I've probably ever had. these days you need everything for that to happen. I think we can see now, like, there's a lot of good guys that have won before, and now there's guys that are like close to getting their first win. And you can see when someone's on it, like, it's just nothing can get in their way. You see like some crazy performances from Richie and Jack and Martin, and yeah, it's just like no one can beat them almost. It's less of a battle, I feel like. I mean, I've always known to never give up, but that one definitely taught me to never give up, because never won with a flat tire, and not many people have. So, and like, go through the process slowly. I think I took my time fixing that flat and made sure it was right, and not kind of get ahead of yourself. And really, you just have to, like, it's such a high stress and high moving situation. You have to really think and take it slow. I think, yeah, trust in the process and never giving up. Always good lessons.
Really busy off season actually. After the 2021 season, we raced in the Tweed Valley, and I didn't know at the time, but I was racing with 2 slip discs in my back. And then the season finished, and I was trying to find somebody to help, and I still had no idea what was wrong with my back. In November, it probably got to the point where I couldn't get out of bed properly. Like, the only position that I wasn't in pain was lying down, so I spent a lot of time lying on the floor during the day, like, still not quite sure. And then I found somebody at the end of November to help, and the process was actually really, really good. For like November, December, January, that was my main focus. Wasn't really training, it was just trying to have a pain-free bike ride. So once my back wasn't sore, we had a Cannondale team camp in America, and we did lots of stuff with like telemetry, getting the setup balanced, and that helped massively. I also had gone up a size from a small to a medium, which I think was really good too. I'm like on the cutoff, but the medium felt far more stable, and like I was way more confident on it.
You know the line and you scream, the faster they go. And here she goes, Ella. The bells are ringing, walking out of
Yeah, so I really, really tried on Sunday to just focus on my riding. I didn't look at any stage times while we were racing, so I actually had no idea like where I was until we crossed the finish line on the last stage, which was really exciting. But it just, for me, that gets me in the right mind space to really think about what I'm riding and do the best race that I can, rather than like feeling a bit stressed and thinking, oh my goodness, I want to win, I want to push here. Like, yeah. I remember struggling on the first stage of Sunday. I finished thinking, oh, that was pretty tough, and I'm not sure I carried enough speed around all the corners. So just tried to relax a bit after that. The most memorable stage for me was probably the last stage. There were most spectators there, and it was like so exciting. Like the first time we'd raced in months, and for a track to be lined with people, all cheering, and yeah, that pushed me through the last stage a lot. Every stage now feels like a mini downhill race. I mean, you have to be so precise and like flat out every single stage. And I think that was just me at the end of the day, knowing that if I wanted to win an EWS, I had to give it everything. I heard that I'd gone into first place, and I'd heard people speaking before to say that it was tight between me and Bex, but I didn't know for which place. And Isabeau, because she'd won the pro stage the day before, was coming down after me, so there was just one rider left. So I think I had to wait for Isabeau to find out that I'd actually won. I'd worked with a psychologist actually in the lead up to the race, and maybe before that I'd underestimated how much that could help. So I learned through the whole preparation to that race, I worked a lot on my mindset and like how to deal with harder situations in a race, or how to deal with being scared of things, how to focus. So I think and then for that to kind of pay off, and I felt that through the whole season this year, is like I really managed to focus on the racing more. I think I learned a lot about myself and my mind and how I operate.
For sure, it was at home, a place that I like. The race is still the race, so you never know how it can happen. So yes, I just go on it, like do your best, and you will see what happens. It's like technical, a bit steep. Yes, some like good corners. It was good for me, and I was waiting also for the bad weather, for the rain, and yeah, it's coming, so it was perfect. I was not really happy about my riding on Saturday. I had a little crash on the pro stage, so I was okay. I'm 8 seconds back, but you can do better. And yes, for sure, I was thinking for the podium and not the win. I was not thinking about the win, but only about the podium, be focused on it, and yeah, I was ready for it. I was looking the time, and I know that after the stage 2 that I was leading. To win this stage and to take the lead with it, it will be in my head for a long time. I said, okay, I am leading, but it's still like 4 stage or 5 stage, and you just need to stay focused and do what you know to do, and just enjoy your day. Stage 4, it was the one that I not really like. It's like a bit bike park, and you need to don't lose too many time on this one. So when I arrive at the end of this one, Jack Moore take me like 8 seconds in this stage, so I was okay. Now the game is on. During the last stage, I was telling me, yeah, you are doing it, continue and just push, you will see at the end. I was like a bit nervous at the start. When I start, I was just relaxed, confident, and go full gas, and it was so good. I was feeling my bike as I never feel it. I was like, I think 3 leading on Jack Moore. On a stage like the last one, you never know. 3 seconds, it's nothing on 7 minutes. But when I crossed the line, the speaker told it, it's okay, it's a win for Alex. So to know it like this, it's so perfect. You know, you don't have to wait and see if someone else can beat you or not. I had the chance to have all my family, my parents and my brother. It was the first time for my brother to come to see me on a race. I couldn't expect something better for a first win and a first podium also. You learn every time. When you are first or when you are second, third or far away, but you every time learn. The only thing I can be focused on is to continue to work, to be more consistent for the next races and to be more on the podium for 2023.
When I injured my foot, I really had this kind of ongoing fatigue that was building up, and clearly in Burke I was at the lowest point. I almost could not finish the race there because I was completely exhausted, both physically and mentally. And I just knew it was one more round in the US before we were going back home. So I thought, okay, Sugarloaf is last race, then you will have enough time to recover and get ready for the last part. So I just thought, let's have fun on this one, put everything you have left in the tank. And when we done the practice, I was completely in love with the venue. I absolutely love the riding there. It was technical, a bit sketchy, everything I liked. We've made some adjustments when I injured my foot, so I was running, for example, larger pedal, softer suspension. That's what I would normally run, just to make it more comfortable for me. The main thing that has changed in Sugarloaf was my mindset. I think in Whistler I was really focused on not feeling the pain and really into a warrior mode. In Burn I realized quite soon that everything was not normal and the foot was painful and the body was tired. So in Sugarloaf, I put every result aspect out of my mind. I was not focusing anymore on the overall because I knew it was kind of slipping away from my hands anyway. So I just focused on having fun. I remember my mechanic Craig telling me how the day was going. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but just keep doing this. I always think that everyone is doing his best and that the way people are doing, you cannot control. If they are doing super well on this day, then there is nothing you can do. The only thing you can do is trying to improve on your performance as well. So that's why I'm always focusing on my riding. Really wanted to finish well. I wanted to have a good result in Sugarloaf to kind of set up a different mindset and be into the positive side of things. And when I've crossed the line, knowing that I've won in Sugarloaf, I really felt relieved. It was a bit like the moment where I could consider the overall title was not completely gone for me, that I was still in the chase. So yeah, it was really much the time where we say with all my team, okay, we are still in the game. It's not over yet, so let's go get it. I was completely in my zone in Sugarloaf. I was not looking at the results. I was only focused on what I was doing. And what I will remember, it's also to never think it's done until the race is finished, because I've crashed in Sugarloaf in one of the stages. And I thought, okay, with a crash like that, then it's over. There is no way you are even on the podium. So it influenced the way I raced the last part of the season to always remain focused until the last stage. And also maybe it's because a bit of Valberg, I realized that everything can happen, even the craziest thing ever. So I just try to always remain focused now.
The season was going pretty good before the Whistler race. I feel like I'd come off of 2 seasons that I hadn't really been super happy with results wise, and I was kind of starting to feel like my old self again in the first block of racing. And coming into Whistler, I put a lot of work in. I tested a lot of things on my bike and kind of just felt like I had prepared as best I could for that race. I was trying not to have too many expectations of the day. I was pretty happy with the 6th place pro stage the day before, and I was trying not to put too much pressure on myself in Whistler. But it is Whistler, and there is, I do have higher expectations of myself, so it was a tough thing to balance. Going into the first 2 stages, I didn't ride them quite as well as I thought I could. That was kind of annoying. I kind of got a little frustrated at that, and I was like, man, if we have to go into the afternoon with a bit more sauce or whatever, I need to do a bit more here than what I did this morning. I think the most memorable stage for me would have been the Ride Don't Slide, stage 4. Just because in practice it had rained a bit and it was so slippery. I remember, I think in practice I crashed on that stage 3 or 4 times. I was pretty frustrated after practice, just from how I had ridden and how the conditions were, and it wasn't adding up to that perfect weekend that you maybe envision. So yeah, I was super nervous about that stage. And yeah, I just felt like I rode that stage so well, and it was like totally different feeling than practice. So it just felt really good to like have a good stage on the one that I was kind of most stressed about. Definitely going into the last stage, I think I was sitting in like 4th or 5th, but the times were really tight. I think Eddie and Matt Walker were like millisecond, like we were all on the same second, and I was like, I think I can get these guys on the last stage in the bike park. I've spent so much time in the bike park in my life. I started coming to Whistler Bike Park when I was 14 years old. We all need a little bit of luck every once in a while. Definitely need to be fit. I don't think anyone has the potential to be on the podium is being lazy in the off season. Those days are gone, if they even ever existed. Yeah, you have to be an amazing bike handler, and yeah, you also have to have a good head on your shoulders, because I'm sure there's a lot of riders who are super skilled that don't and might never get on the podium. Definitely felt really good to get a podium in Whistler. I think it's like something that I have had the potential to do for quite a few seasons now. I've had some really good results in Whistler before, just like never quite got those last, couple positions. So yeah, it felt like a big weight off my shoulders for sure. Yeah, I think that's like a dream come true. I feel like that's something that we have been capable of together for many seasons now. And to actually make that happen is pretty unreal. Been doing this for a long time, and I've had I've had some really good successful years, and I've had some really not been happy with. And I think for me it was good to remind myself that those results don't define you as like a rider, and they don't mean that you don't have what it takes. I've put on just as much work as the guys who are at the top, and I'm pretty confident to say that. Like, I do put in the work necessary to be the top guy, and it kind of reminded me that that work does pay off eventually. It's not going to pay off every single time, but like, if you keep going and you keep putting in the work, it's likely to pay off one day. And that was kind of that day for me.
So the original idea for me to race in EWS stemmed back to probably mid-season last year. What with coaching a load of young and up-and-coming riders, the original idea was to basically just get a little bit more experience and being able to give them my real-world experience. Having a lot of experience in downhill in the past, but not ever really raced any enduro stuff. I felt from a personal side as well, it was just like, it would be good to know what it takes to race at that level. It felt pretty natural to me. It's not a new experience to be racing at that level. I was more motivated to just go out and do the best I could to show the students and the people who have helped me out with a bike and sponsorship and stuff like that, just to do them proud. I definitely blew my expectations out the water after the pro stage. It was a shock for, I think, everyone, probably more so the top 10 who have never heard of me before. I don't think my mindset really changed the night before race day or throughout race day at all. Again, I just wanted to go out and ride my bike as best I could. It was a funny day. It was strange. What with Casper having a crash on the first stage and ending up making that stage have to close, which was really unfortunate. So to me, I didn't have anything to refer back to, but for the other guys around at the start, they were quite thrown off by that. But I kind of just tried to capitalize on that and like, okay, it's a shorter day. These guys are clearly way fitter than I am. So the shorter day and the shorter tracks definitely suited my strengths a lot more. I was pretty hyped up and really excited to go full whack. And I remember it was Jesse leaving in front of me on the first stage of race day. And he was like, "Good luck, dude, go do it again." I was like, oh, all right, here we go. So I got a bit excited by that. The one crash I had was on that stage. I didn't really crash. I just overcooked a turn and shoulder barged a tree. I managed to keep going and stuff. And I think I ended up second or third on that stage. Left less than a second off Jesse's. Just rode right on the edge of my limit. I obviously know the trails like the back of my hand. So just capitalized on that and tried to stay smooth, but also ride with as much intensity as I knew I could. I was checking times, but it wasn't thinking about an overall position. In fact, that didn't even cross my mind until I got to the final climb at the tech zone. And people were like, Innes, you're going to flip a podium. And I was like, oh, no, don't say that. I just wanted to bring it home, I guess. Like, I knew I could perform really well on that same stage and the conditions were better. It was all in my favor, I guess. That last run definitely was pretty much perfect. I couldn't have done much better, but luckily I didn't need to, and I won the stage again. Hooray! The memory that sticks out most to me was when I was on the podium walking up, and all the kids that I've coached all summer were there, like giving me high fives and stuff. I was like, oh, this is sick. Hopefully had a really positive impact for local riders in this area, to be like, there's not much stopping you. It definitely lit a fire in me again. It just made me want to do it again and see how I would fare up away from home. It's kind of bittersweet to have your amazing first EWS podium at home, because it's kind of like it's like a wet race, isn't it? And you win in the dry. It's a similar kind of feeling. We'll keep it going, and I think this year we're planning to do the same thing again, which I'm really stoked about. I think the more experience I can get, the more I can give back to the sport and to the young riders that we're dealing with.
I had like a special feeling for Whistler because of many things. Like, for example, Whistler was the first race I did in the EWS that made me realize that not make me realize, but it was like, yeah, I need to get 150% on racing, and yeah, it's always been a special place to me, deliver good results. Now that I'm living here, of course, it meant that I was gonna race in front of my friends that are my family here, so it was quite special. I think always racing, especially here in Whistler, you got to be aware of everything. But I knew Ride on Slide was gonna be like a important stage, as well as Misfire. They were loamy and techy and more unpredictable. As for example, the pro stage was on the bike bar, so you know the bike bar is so much ridden. It's so many people, it doesn't change. But Ride on Slide, especially with the conditions we had, like a little bit of rain and then 500 people going on it, and yeah, I think Ride on Slide was the one I was like, I remember that race. I got up, I just got to the first stage in microclimate. I was done. I was feeling tired and I was like, dude, there's like 6-7 hours more of racing, and I'm feeling tired, but whatever. Like, I'm gonna push until I can't push anymore. And I think that was like really important. Like, I didn't care if I was tired or if it hurt or whatever. I just pushed and I was like, okay, whatever happens, it's gonna happen, but I'm sitting on a third spot, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes to try to keep it. It was Misfire, that is one of my favorite trails in the bike park. Funny thing is, it was my worst stage of the race, but still I had a blast. Like, I love racing that. Something really weird happened in Ride on Slide. Like, at the beginning of the stage, a huge stick like jumped, and it hit my lever of the brake, and my lever went like this. And I couldn't barely reach it, and I think that was at the end of the day like something good, because I didn't break that much, and then the stage went really well. Actually, I enjoy a lot the last stage. I was like, yeah, I'm going fast.
And now we see Flo Espineira Herota. Flo on the gas. She lives in Whistler. We love her here. Is it going to be enough? And the crowd going absolutely.
You know, sometimes you think you're gonna do something in life and then it never happens. Then you keep pushing and then a lot of things happen. Oh yeah, just doing it, it was like unreal. I learned that you have to dig even deeper. And I learned that I could be there. So yeah, that's my getaway. The thing that I always think every day is like hard work. There's no mystery recipe for success, just hard work in life. And this off season, as I told you, I'll be working full time, so it's not gonna be easy to keep pushing during training. But every time I'm pushing there, like in the pain cave, I'm like, okay, this is not gonna last forever, and just one more second, and it's like the same mindset that I race. Like when you're suffering, it's like whatever, like even dig deeper, like push.
We're looking forward to much more drama and battles next year. Keep up to date with all things Enduro World Series right here on EWS YouTube in the lead up to the season starting in Tasmania in March. Let us know in the comments down below which riders you think will be gunning for the podium when we go racing in 2023.